highest promoter of corruption in the history of Ghana.
We will interrogate the NDC's claims and hear from government.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion, also brought to you by Gasem Cement, the nation builder, Vodafone. The future is exciting, and Antati Furniture, designed for life. Well, last week it was 21 civil society organizations coming out in defense of the Auditor General. Today, the main opposition NDC has joined that bandwagon. Whereas the civil society coalition alleged a certain plot by various state agencies to teach the Auditor General a lesson, the NDC is taking it a step further. They allege a grand plot by government-backed forces to remove the Auditor General because of his uncompromising stance in exposing alleged corruption perpetrated by Senior Minister Yao Safo-Mafo. The Auditor General is currently embroiled in a legal tussle with the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, which is investigating the AG for alleged procurement breaches. The AG insists that that probe may have ulterior motives, and it is clear today that the NDC is in full agreement with that position as expressed by the Auditor General, Daniel Domelevo. Now listen to the General Secretary of the NDC, John Sesudin Kesi, addressing a news conference earlier today.
The witch hunt of Mr. Daniel Yao Domelevo reveals deep-seated governmental complicity in the systematic rape of the resources entrusted into the care of President Akufo-Addo. It shows the president's lack of commitment in the fight against corruption involving his friends and family members who have constituted his government. The use of IOCO in this dubious endeavor and the schemes set in motion must be a worry to all well-meaning Ghanaians, especially anti-corruption civil society organizations such as Ghana Integrity Initiative, Imani Ghana, Occupy Ghana, Committee for Joint Action, etc., etc. Especially when the enforcement of the powers of surcharge of the Auditor General was given effect in a recent Supreme Court ruling in a case filed by these very same civil society organizations.
Well, they are demanding the arrest of the senior minister.
If we allow President Akufo-Addo to hound Domelevo out, the signal it sends is that don't fight corruption if you want to maintain your job, wherever you find yourself. Number two, a puppet will be put in his place to now come and cover up for all the loot that has been perpetrated by this government. And that is the agenda that is beginning. And that is why we are drawing your attention to it. Rather than hounding Mr. Domelevo, we are by this press conference calling on President Akufo-Addo to immediately order the arrest and prosecution of Mr. Yao Safo-Mafo for the breaches of the Public Procurement Act. We demand an immediate cessation of the hostile victimization of Mr. Domelevo by the Akufo-Addo government. President Akufo-Addo must demonstrate that no one is above the laws of Ghana, including Mr. Yao Safo-Mafo.
So, if the president does not cause the arrest and prosecution of the senior minister, what happens? Well, this is the NDC's reaction to that.
The conduct of IOCO unacceptable in the sense that the anti-graft agency is comfortably inviting Yao Domelevo for questioning and granting him bail, but has refused or neglected to invite Yao Safo-Mafo for the same breaches of the Public Procurement Act. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we cannot have two sets of laws in Ghana, one for the family and friends of President Akufo-Addo and another for all the other Ghanaians. If President Akufo-Addo fails to take action on this case of corruption by the senior minister, as we expect he will do, he will have cemented his image as the highest promoter of corruption in the history of Ghana and the one president who presided over the most corrupt government.
And we'll be fact-checking a bit of the claims made by the NDC shortly, pulling from several documentations that already exist and is in the public domain already, surrounding the issues of Yao Safomafo, the senior minister, the alleged procurement breaches, the Auditor General's own findings, and the back and forth that has played out in the public domain between the senior minister and Yao Safomafo shortly, and also claims made by the NDC that the pro-NPP group Alliance for Accountable Governance will be used as the means to petition the president as part of this grand scheme they allege to remove the Auditor General from office. Let's bring in Deputy Information Minister Pius Hajide, who joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Hajide, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Yeah, thank you, Evans, for having me.
Is there a plan, a grand plot backed by government to remove the Auditor General?
Evans, good evening to you and the cherished listeners of Joy FM. That allegation is a figment of the NDC's own diabolic imagination. I mean, totally untrue and maliciously fabricated. Evans, there is no such thing as a plot by this government or by any agencies or persons working in government to do any such thing as removing anybody from office. I mean, it cannot be true. The NDC offers no proof whatsoever in the allegation that they make, which is essentially captured in portions of their statement. You read the second paragraph, for instance, of the NDC statement, and they claim that the Economic and Organized Crime Office is acting at the behest of the Honorable Senior Minister without offering any proof, no evidence. I mean, just malicious fabrications, figments of their own imaginations. These are not statements that any group of persons or media houses should actually pay any credence to, should be disregarded. You want to make such a fundamental allegation, the burden is on you to actually at least adduce some reasonable suspicion or evidence or proof to back the point, but none whatsoever has been forwarded by the NDC. The NDC wants to, unfortunately, politicize this matter. I do not know to what end or for what purpose, and we have to condemn that outrightly. Mr. Domelevo himself did the right thing by proceeding to court when he suspects that there is a matter that he believes that in his interpretation of the law is wrong. He believes that the EOCO does not have the authority to investigate him relative to some matters. The EOCO thinks otherwise, and I believe that the Auditor General did the right thing by proceeding to court to seek interpretation, and that is what we must encourage. But this unwholesome, unwarranted politicization of an otherwise straightforward legal matter is very worrisome, and all well-meaning people should rise up against any attempt from any group to want to determine and direct how state agencies such as the courts, such as the EOCO, or such as the Auditor General's office should be run. This is unacceptable.
But it's not only the NDC that holds a view that something is amiss in the way the EOCO is treating it. In fact, 21 civil society groups, all the reputable ones we have in this country, CDD, IDEC, name them, last week issued a similar statement on the lines that we've heard the NDC, just of course is moderately stating it as well. Quoting, for example, from that statement, they claim, they point to the Safomafo probe by the Auditor General, and they say, quote, "It is our considered view that every turn of the matter, the purported procurement procedural challenge could have been cured, but various state agencies decided to teach the Auditor General a lesson." That is 21 civil society groups in this country of repute, almost coming to the same conclusion that there is some form of a plot to teach the Auditor General a lesson. You deny that too?
Evans, the subjective reading or interpretation that anybody can put on a matter can never become the replacement or cannot become the replacement or cannot take the place of the judicial pronouncements by the courts. I mean, the subjective readings that people have, whatever their motivations may be, remains their subjective thinking, and it will fall completely before the law. And so I have my own personal subjective readings of issues. You have your own subjective reading of issues. People have their own friendships and solidarities and alliances. All of those will collapse before the law. I am saying that this is a matter that is before the courts. The responsible and proper thing to do is to allow for the courts to do their work. If, however, anybody has any evidence whatsoever of an attempt to interfere in a state institution's workings, the person is encouraged to adduce the evidence, not subjective thinking and our own biased reading of the situations, but incontrovertible evidence has to be adduced. In any case, this issue of the audit service and the Auditor General, the Auditor General himself is on record to have attested to the kind of support, unprecedented, that this government has given to the audit service. How then do you juxtapose that against the allegation that the same government that is supporting, unprecedented, supporting the audit service to perform up to optimum, is on the other side also seeking to undermine the work of the Auditor General? How do you reconcile that too? And I am making reference to comments and testaments of the Auditor General himself. So please, I think that whoever it is, wherever they are coming from, whatever their motivation may be, we must all encourage the institutions of state in this country to work. Those institutions include the courts that have a jurisdiction over this matter. Those institutions include the YOCO, they include the audit service. Nobody should be allowed, whether through the power of advocacy or whatever power that they may possess, to want to interfere and direct the work of state institutions. That is not how to build.
There's a substantive matter that both the civil society groups and the NDC is pointed to as possibly the reason why the Auditor General appears to be witch-hunted by the way it's being done. I mean, and they point to his findings against the senior minister Yaosafo Mafo in the now infamous Kroll Associates matter. The Auditor General has surcharged him. I mean, the argument is, if this is a government that believes in the fight against corruption, the senior minister should simply be made to comply with the surcharge, or if he disagrees, should go to court. He's done neither of these things, and he's rather writing to the Auditor General, fighting him.
Evans, again, the subjective reading of issues. And I am very surprised that people hold the view that investigations are a witch hunting. Investigations by their nature cannot be called witch hunting.
But it can be used as a tool to witch hunt by governments that don't like anybody.
And I'm saying to you that the government is not using any investigations as witch hunt. If anybody has any evidence to the contrary, let them come forward. Because the audit service, the Auditor General himself, what he does is investigations. And so if we are going to be characterizing investigations as witch hunt, very soon some people will actually also, or may also actually be accusing the Auditor General and the Audit Service in the legitimate conduct of their job as conducting a witch hunt.
But you see why the witch hunt thing had come up? Because of the firm belief by the Auditor General and others that IOCO is simply the wrong state agency to be doing this. When we have the senior minister, when we have the special prosecutor there.
Even that is the matter that is before a court of competent jurisdiction, and that is the proper platform for the determination of these matters, and not at a press conference by a political party or by civil society organizations. They do not have that authority or that power, and unfortunately, to adjudicate on these matters. At best, it is subjective thinking and subjective reading, which can be grossly misleading, sometimes utterly false, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I want to say a big thank you to you for agreeing to speak to me. Pius Hajide is the Deputy Information Minister, stating government's position on these allegations as put forward by the NDC today. And let me give you a bit of background and some fact-checking as we begin to dig into the facts of this particular matter. My colleague, Joseph Akable, is with me in the studio now. Joseph, this all started with some findings that allegedly, that people have drawn links between this finding and what is currently happening with the Auditor General, and a lot of reference has been made, including civil society made a reference to, NDC made a reference to the findings against the senior minister. What was the finding that Domelevo made against him?
And so it's contained in the annual report of the Auditor General on public accounts of Ghana, ministries, departments, and other agencies. And that part of this one says that total contract irregularities reported was 5.5 million cedis. Included in the total contract was 4.8 million, which was paid to Kroll Associates in 2017 by the Ministry of Finance to recover government assets in the possession of private individuals. However, the Ministry of Finance could not provide any evidence of work done by Kroll Associates during the period of the audit, and so the Auditor General recommended that the contract be abrogated and any monies paid to the company recovered immediately.
Now, this eventually we saw a response from the senior minister to this particular finding, in which he denies that work hasn't been done.
First, he says indeed he got approval for a request for single source procurement of professional services. He goes on to say that the proof of work done by the company are contained in their respective reports submitted to the Office of the Senior Minister, Cocoa Board, Bank of Ghana, and Economic and Organized Crime Office. The consultancy services with Kroll Associates UK Limited is ongoing and expected to continue for a period of 4 years. It makes the point again that one of its work is what is being relied upon in terms of the case involving Seidu Agongo and Cocoa Board, and so that is one matter that they investigated, which is a subject of a criminal prosecution that is ongoing and is based on work or evidence provided by Kroll Associates.
So senior minister's point is that, one, I got approval by the procurement authority. Secondly, Kroll Associates in fact has done work, and part of that is the basis of a prosecution that is currently ongoing. In fact,
there's an attachment to that letter. It's an approval for single source procurement of professional services, and it says, please find attached letter dated 14th November 2017 from the PPA. The PPA in the aforementioned letter has granted approval for the National Security Council Secretariat to use the single source method to engage Kroll Associates UK Limited for a period not exceeding 12 months.
There's one point there to highlight, and it comes down to the timelines. This is dated 14th November. That is the procurement authority's letter granting approval. However, if you read
approval to the National Security Council.
However, if you read the Auditor General's report, it says that the contract was awarded in September 2017. September, that is a month before the PPA approval. And NDC's point is that you need prior PPA approval. And so this is raised questions about the contract already been given, post the contract have been awarded, then this particular PPA approval was secured, as the date on the face of it seek to prove. But Daniel Domelevo didn't stop there. He came back to respond to the Osafo Mafo
on the Super Morning Show. So he raised a number of issues. One is that the evidence of approval that was submitted shows approval that was given to the National Security Secretariat. He again says that no evidence of work was provided and the company is a foreign company. We can listen to him.
So he totally rejects Osafo Mafo's response to him.
Yes.
I've seen that letter, but I don't think it answers my question. Giving me assurance that the work is being done and they are doing work for you is not what we were looking for. What we were looking for is evidence that work has been done. We were asking for some other information because Kroll and Associates is a foreign company. Article 181 of the Constitution, Clause 5, provides that it requires parliamentary approval for you to go into such contracts. We are waiting for that parliamentary approval to come. Then we also stated that we don't think they follow the procurement process. If you read that letter, you will see that the approval was given by the management of PPA, not the board. Section 40 of the Public Procurement Act says the board, not management. but it is management who gave the approval. And the approval was given to National Security Secretariat, not senior minister. So there are a whole lot of questions unanswered about that, which we thought they would have come clear of it, and they have not come. As a result of which, I've issued a surcharge. So I've issued a surcharge against the senior minister that he should pay the money back. Honorable Kwadwo Oppong-Nkrumah said you were waiting for us to go to Parliament before they bring the response. I don't know which law he is referring to. I don't know which law says that you should bring your responses to Parliament when audit observations are issued to you.
So that is Daniel Domelevo, the Auditor General, speaking on the Super Morning Show a couple of weeks back in reaction to Yao Osafo-Mafo's response to him. Now, today at the press conference, the NDC also alleges that as part of the what they claim to be a government-backed plot to remove the Auditor General, there'll be a petition to the president, and a pro-government agency, a pro-government civil society group, will be used as a tool to effect this particular petition that will lead eventually to the removal of Daniel Domelevo. We've been checking this, and Joseph, which group is the NDC alleging will be used to petition the president?
That's AFAC. They make the point that the Alliance for Accountable Governance is a pro-NPP think tank, and that the group had petitioned, asked for some probe, and had actually written trying to get documents from the PPA. In fact, our own fact-checking, we came across a statement that was issued by AFAC. This was issued sometime in October 2019, and the statement, the concluding parts of the statement states as follows. It says, for committing serious breaches of the Public Procurement Act, AFAC will petition the President for the removal of the Auditor General from public office for the offences captured in the PPA report covering the audit service from January 2018 to August 2018. AFAC will lodge a complaint to the Supervising Minister of the PPA, the Minister for Finance and Economic Planning, and the Public Services Commission for appropriate action to be taken against the management of PPA for refusing to respond to our lawful demand.
Okay, so it's factual that AFAC themselves, in a statement,
indicated we're going to petition the president.
As we speak, we don't know if that has happened yet. What we know is a petition that is before IOCO, which is the subject of their investigations. Okay, Joseph, thank you very much. We had reached out to the NDC to get some comment from them on the back of this press conference. We're unable to reach them now, the communications director of the party. When we do, we'll bring their view to you as well. Topstory is always brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. Gasem Cement, the nation builder, and Antati Furniture, designed for life.
Your success, our passion.
Ma, please give me your phone. Let me make a quick call.
So you are still on that network that gives you fair data and talk time, where Vodafone has double the Red 1, Red 2, and Red 5 offers. For 5 CDs, Chikra. You get 250 minutes to call all networks, 250 megabytes data, and more.
I'm moving to Vodafone today.
Switch to Vodafone to enjoy double Intuswar on red bundles of 1, 2, and 5 CDs. Enjoy double talk minutes to call all networks and double data to browse. Vodafone always gives you more. Dial *200# to subscribe now. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Put a twist on life with Voltic. Choose the new eco-friendly 500 ml Voltic bottle made with 7% less plastic. Enjoy and twist to recycle. Voltic, naturally. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Surprise!
I washed all the clothes.
Yeah, I remember the last time you just didn't go well. But the clothes look like new. What happened?
Well, I made a change to Omo Auto Washing Powder, made for washing machines.
Hey, see how clean Adra's football shirt is?
That's because Omo Auto Powder penetrates deep into the fabric to remove the toughest stains. One touch.
Hey, sir, the scent is so nice.
And all I needed was 1 scoop of powder.
So it's economical. Kofi, you have shocked me today. I like this Omo Auto Washing Powder.
You see? What a woman can do, a man can.
Until from now on, you do all the washing.
Eh?
Switch to the superior cleaner. Just a quick wash is enough for tough stain removal.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Oh yeah! Okadeko's Black Friday deals are now live. Okadeko is offering you a whopping 20% discount on everything. Yes, you heard me right, 20%.